All right. Hello there. Ray Reese here, Anytime Fitness Chestnut Hill. Today we're going to go over squats and the importance of squats. I'm going to run through a basic squat workout for me, and I'm going to offer you guidance, and tips as we go. Now, the weight that I put on here does not need to be indicative of what you should be using, but the principles remain the same. That being said, why do we want to do squats? Squats are, they are an important skill. They're not just exercise. They're an actual skill that requires a lot of different muscle parts, muscle groups and things working together in synergy and in harmony, right? So we want to make certain that we have control over our body, over that motion, because this is our foundation down here. So we want to make certain that we've got a strong foundation. You're going to use this every time you get off the couch, every time you get out of the car, which is one of the reasons why every time I do squat, I make certain that I have some sort of platform or thing that allows me to gauge my range of motion. Now, for the average person, maybe you can just simply drop your hips down below parallel, and so that you're going down far enough. But for some of us whose range of motion may, our normal, natural, unwarmed up range of motion may be right above the knees, it helps to have something that I can aim for. Now, today, I'm going a little bit lower. So normally I use this, but today I've stacked some plates because I want to go a teeny bit lower, all right? And I've been trying to warm up a little bit, and the extra quarter of an inch makes a difference. Now, getting into warming up and range of motion, why do we want to be able to go down further? Because, outside in the real world, you don't know, how much depth you're going to need, all right? So it's better to test yourself here in the gym, such that once you get out there, you have an easier go of it. And so also, the greater the range of motion you have, the more work you're going to be able to do in one motion, and the less squats you're going to have to do. So if you're only going like half as far as you could go, when you could in theory be down here, you're going to have to do twice as many repetitions to do the same amount of work. Now also, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to fat burning, muscles burn calories. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. The more muscles you work, the more calories you burn. The larger the muscle, the more calories you burn. So these are your calorie burners down here, right? These suckers are your best friends when it comes to, shedding extra pounds, which is one of the reasons why I live by these. I'll sooner do legs twice and 3 times in a week before I do them 0 times in a week. But yeah, it's important for caloric burn. Now, another reason why setting up this way, you know, you're at home, sure, but again, the principles that I'm imparting here, the same, whether you're using a kettlebell, barbell, medicine ball, whatever. But also, as we get ready to look forward to the future, as we get ready to think about, you know, whenever we're going to be able to open back up, let's have a running head start. Let's have, when you first come through the door, you know, again, as you can come right over here and, you know how to, you know, get moving. So I've got myself some safeties here. My safety rails, I always have these, always 100%, because why not? They're free. I don't understand people that don't have them there at all. Like, I could understand, like, all right, well, maybe you set them a little bit lower than what you would need them, but got my safeties, got my depth checker here. All right, we're gonna try to put the bar on our back, and you'll notice, so I get under in a quarter squat basically, and I lift up, okay? I'm not having to, it's not so high that I'm having to get on my toes to get it out. It's also not so low that I've got to like almost do like a half squat to get it out, all right? So, yeah. Making sure to make certain that it's centered, which there are some grooves here that'll help you with that, all right? And we're warming up. We want to get those hips down and back, all right? Trying to keep the bar low, not up here on our neck, but on the traps, all right? I'm going to spread my feet a little bit wider. I'm going to put my toes out because I'm still warming up, and I'm going to let my inner thighs, my hip flexors, do a little bit more work, all right? Because we're not there yet. I'll normally get a little greater range of motion once I have some weight on there and I'm warmed up. All right, so here's probably the lowest that my body would normally go, but then I sort of allow myself to drop down. All right, now, because it is very, very warm in here, I'm going to be taking a number of breaks. I will hydrate. I get I'm really good with sprinty, bursty things, but then I need to recover, all right? And you have to listen to your body. You know, I am on my own journey where I'm trying to retain, you know, the muscle and lose a bit more of this unnecessary fat, also so that I can have more energy. But now we are going to add some weight on here. I usually, so another thing, this is still my warm up. I warm up into my workout. So doing a squat with no bar, still warming up. Doing a squat with just the bar, still warming up. Doing a squat with some weight on it, still warming up. Because my ultimate goal, the way that I generally work out, for me, when I got a barbell, I will generally try to max out. This is not something that you would have to do. I generally try to max out, try to go up with as few reps as possible to the highest weight with which I'm comfortable. Do that one time. And then I go back down to, some way lower weight. But as we're doing this, we still want to make certain, regardless of how much weight is on there, that our hips are going down and back, keeping the back straight. So let's try. We got 135 on here. Well, so the bar weighs 45 pounds, and I've got two 45-pound weights totaling 90 pounds. So altogether, 135. And I'm just gonna do one. Just doing probably one or, I don't know, we'll see. I have to listen to my body, all right? Coming up, step back, all right? Go down and up. Yeah, one will do for this. So a couple of things about that. Now that I have 135 on there, it helps me to balance more, helps me to be a little more centered, so that I'm not having to try to force my way down into the squat. And so you'll notice, similarly, if you have trouble getting down to a certain depth, sometimes, or a lot of times, holding your arms out to counterbalance will give you that extra room, all right? Similarly, holding a weight out, if you have a dumbbell that you hold up, that can make it way easier. Now, how much should you be doing? Well, again, these are your calorie burners, these are your workhorses. You really want to work them. I'm going to be going up. So ideally, you want to be able to do your body weight at least one time. Generally. That's a good goal. That's a good measuring stick. Are there exceptions? Are there other? Yeah. But being able to do your body weight one time, meaning that, like I weigh 270. I should be able to put 270 pounds on here and go down and up one time. That's men or women. Men or women. And if you say, oh my goodness, I could never squat that much, well then you gotta squat more to burn the calories off that are prohibiting you from being able to, lift that. So if I weigh 400 pounds, I'm like, oh, I can't squat 400 pounds, then I've gotta, diet and exercise to drop down to where it makes sense for me. But in that process of squatting and reaching for that, I'm going to get stronger and more muscular. I'm going to get better technique, become more efficient, so my body weight will come down and my max will come up. So maybe if I'm 400 pounds and I get down to 300, maybe now I can squat 300, right? But let us get, I'm going to put 25 pounds on each side, taking it up to 185. So you'll notice I'm really doing one rep and I'm taking really long breaks because two reasons. One, it's hot in here. I don't want to overheat. also don't want to get out of breath, overexert myself, pass out. Listen to your body. 2, I have a powerlifting background, and you could be at a meet and it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you get to go again, depending on the meet. So I try to train for the way in which I'm going to perform, and I'm thinking about doing powerlifting again. But I should mention, if you can't lift your own body weight, another good measuring stick, can you do a squat to knee height or lower 100 times? Not in a row. Maybe you do 20 in a row, take a break, 20 in a row, take a break, 20 in a row, break, 20, break, 20. Can you? Yeah, making certain that you go all the way down, all the way back up. That's a good test, you know. And if you can't, then just work towards that. It's not pass fail, it's just saying, okay, this is where I am. So maybe you can do 50. Good. Work your way on up to 55 and then 75, so on and so forth. Then once you get to 100, maybe it took you a half an hour to get done with 100. All right, let's aim for 25 minutes next time, so on and so forth. All right, so that's breathing out as I take it off. Step back with care. Not gonna step too far back because we don't need to waste extra energy, you know, traveling the floor. All right, and if my form is correct, I'm not going to hit the bars in front of me. People tend to step way far back because they think they're gonna hit the bars. But if you're going down and back with your hips as you're supposed to, that shouldn't be a concern. Now, that being said, you also want to be mindful that if you're even. I have a tendency, no wonder. I knew something was fishy. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. So, all right, hold on. There we go. Just realized after all this time, these aren't the same. There's a left one and there's a right one. And if you have two lefts or two rights, your one side is going to hit on the way down, and this side kept hitting. Ta-da! All right, so we did 185. Now we're going up to 225. I'm going to add a 45-pound plate. Now, I should also mention that I have some lower back issues that just because, you know, I don't have any lower back injuries in particular. I just have genetically got a bad lower back, especially if I weigh over, I think, once I get over 265 pounds, my back will start giving me problems. So 265 pounds relative to my body weight. That being said, if you have a bad body part, knee, shoulder, lower back, you want to take care of it. You want to protect it, but you don't want to not work it. If you have a bad back or a bad shoulder or bad knees, not working them won't make them stronger, it just make them weaker. So you're gonna have bad knees or a bad lower back no matter what. You know, do you want bad knees and weak legs? You know, do you want, you know, a bad lower back and a weak lower back, so on and so forth? So it doesn't mean that you hit the weights with reckless abandon. You listen to your body. So right now my lower back is going, hey buddy, don't forget about your constraints. And so I'm being very, very careful. And I'm really having to monitor my heat level or whatever. Because it's not overly hot, but I'm wearing like 2 t-shirts. And this place hasn't had the air conditioner on since you guys were last here. So it's kind of stuffy. You know, normally I might go off to the side, like lay down. But here we are. We're gonna do 225. Doing it once. You'll notice also I breathe in on the way down. I breathe out on the way up. Exertion, exhale. So as you're pushing, if you're pushing the weight away from you, breathe out. If you're pulling weight towards you, breathe out. Wherever the exertion is, you need to breathe out on that. I don't hold my breath. I know that a lot of people in the powerlifting community like to use what's called the Valsalva maneuver, where and there's a whole lot of bodybuilding and powerlifting rationale that goes with that. That's not something that's consistent, however, with general fitness. So I don't practice it, I don't teach it. If you begin training for powerlifting and you got a powerlifting coach that says, hey, we're gonna use the Valsalva maneuver, that is between you and him or her. But I tell you this much, I've never passed out from breathing normally. And there are an F-ton of videos of people passing out doing deadlifts and squats and whatnot. But all right, 225. All right. Boom, boom. Gonna breathe in on the way down. So normally I breathe out while I'm standing here forcibly so that I have more room to breathe in on the way down. All right, works just fine for me. Also, I'm not crashing on this. I'm just touching and going. It's just about depth. And it also serves as somewhat of a safety measure, that if I go down and I can't hold it, I can't come back up, then I will, I can just sit there, I can stop there and unload the bar, which if you have these here anyway, that shouldn't be an issue, but I like having them both. With the caveat being that you have to really understand your depth and where the bar is going to try to push you down to, because as the bar gets heavier, it's going to compress your spine that much more, because that's what your spine does. It compresses and stretches. That's, it does that. That's fine. And the bar is also going to want to pull you more forward, and your glutes are going to want to stretch a little bit more. So this is going to get closer to the bar as you go. So you don't want to have this really high and that really low, because eventually you're just gonna clang and it's gonna be bad news. Also, try not to get distracted while you're squatting. Like right now, I'm sort of teaching and demonstrating. When you're doing it, keep your eyes on your weights. Be mindful of having conversations. I do this in a very specific way. So like, I don't put my clips on until I've double checked that my weights are right, because you don't want to unrack and then have, like you've got two 45s and a 25 over here, and just two 25s over there, right? Or you don't have your clip on, you got like a clip on over here, and then you forget to go back over there because you was yapping or whatever. Focus on your fitness. So we are at 270? Yeah, 270. Why am I struggling with this? 275. 225 plus 50 is 275, all right? So, getting under here, good grip. Breathing out on the way up while we're racking. Step back a little bit. I'm gonna breathe out to empty those lungs so I can have more room to breathe in on the way up. All right. Feeling good. All right, so each rep that I'm doing, each single rep that I'm doing is the warm up for the next rep. So I can feel this. My heart is beating harder. My lungs are working harder to get my heart oxygen so they can pump it to my muscles. I'm getting hotter and I am sweating more. Now, sweat is only an indicator of, Sweat is only an indicator of body temperature. It is not an indication of calorie burn. You may sweat more when you're burning more calories because, yeah, you got to work harder, but just because you're sweating more doesn't mean you're burning more calories. Like, you could just be hot. If you work out outside in 90-degree weather, you're not going to get any fitter than if you worked indoors in 72-degree weather. You know, so putting on like a trash bag and trying to do jumping jacks in the sauna, that's just a health hazard, right? You don't do that stuff. But if you are, sweating a lot, if you feel like, man, I'm really hot, hey, hydrate, take a break, listen to your body. I'm probably going a lot slower than what I would normally be going, because this is what my body is telling me I need to do today. So it'd be very easy for me to decide, I'm gonna do some ego lifting. And ego lifting is basically when you're just lifting to show off, to save face or to whatever, because your pride won't let you stop or whatever, and you begin abandoning like form and common sense, and then that's how injuries happen. I can sit here all day and say, oh man, I should be able to listen to your body. Take breaks when you need to, whether that's during your workout or during your week. you know, you may wake up, be really sore, really want to go to the gym. You just try to go to the gym, you try to grab your weights, try to work out in your basement, and your body's like, dude, I just really want to rest. I want to lay down. Just please, don't put me through this. And sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes it is just mental, though. You know, and I'll usually know whether it's mental or physical when I actually try to get up and go get in the car. If I make it to the gym and I try to put some weight on there and I'm like, nah, F this, I'm out. I have literally walked into the gym, done 1 rep, and then like, nah, yo, this ain't working. We hop on the bike for like 11 minutes and then go home and watch some British docu-series. So, all right, 315. We got 315. I'm gonna try to do 1 rep. Also in this, I'm giving my back, you know, all this downtime, I'm giving my back time to recover. If it was really bothering me, I would have to stretch in between here, you know, trying to round it, and then relax it. You know, also pulling back, letting my hips drop. What was I gonna say? 315. Yeah, 315. Gonna try it once. Listen to your body. All right. One of those things where you'll feel great during it, like, yeah, I did it. And then after you're done, your body begins to reset and it's like, oh Lord. You know? So let me take this off. Also, I used the term woman before, right? So when we talk about stretching, I tend to do dynamic stretching in that it's mobile. It's like I tend to do the thing. I tend to do motions that replicate the activity that I'm going to do. All right. So my stretching is literally this, you know, getting down, getting a wider stance, holding it here, right? The warmer I get, the more I'm going to be able to stretch, the greater range of motion I'm going to have. So that's the other thing, you know, because it's so hot in here, my muscles are getting a little bit looser a lot more quickly. But that warm up is super important. You don't want to just try to stretch cold muscles. So it's like taffy. If you have cold taffy and you try to bend it, it's just gonna break. If you have warm taffy, then you get gooey taffy. So yeah, it doesn't always have to be a completely separate activity or movement. Oh my goodness. Sorry. This extra t-shirt, like, so normally, to keep me from sweating through my work shirts, I'll normally have on an extra t-shirt underneath so that I'm not just going through the, t-shirt every single day, because I don't have a washer and a dryer in my house, so not like you rich folk. So the less the less laundry I gotta do, the better. And so normally when I am working out, I only have on like one shirt. So everything adds up. You get your routine, something's different, whether it's the temperature, because like last week it was like 70 degrees. Today it's, I don't know, it's 80, I don't know what it was today. So it's hotter, I've got on extra t-shirt, so got my water right here. And this goes a long way. Do not be afraid to have your, I don't care if you have to bring in, you don't have a water bottle, bring a gallon jug of water if you have to, because I know what it's like when, you know, you're working out, you don't want to leave your station and go take a drink of water, stand in line, wait to fill it up, just, you know, well, just keep your water with you, so that way you can get it as you need it, even if it's in mid-sentence. All right, so 365. Now, you're gonna do 365. How does this pertain to you? Does this 365 pertain to you? The amount does not. But let's say at home, you have different sets of weights. Maybe you have, let's say you have, hypothetically, you have kettlebells. You have a 5-pound kettlebell, a 10-pound, 25-pound, going all the way up to like 40, 45, 50, right? And you're like, dude, I can't just do a 50. You may start with the 5 and do some reps and sets with that. Then you may jump to the next one after a break. So on and so forth. So this is me going up incrementally. This is me doing as much as possible for me, right? But I'm only doing 1 rep. You might do a couple of reps at whatever dumbbell weight, kettlebell weight, resistance band, resistance band level, right? Incrementally as your body will allow. All right. Woo! 365. This is a lot easier when I don't have to film it and broadcast it. But here we go, focus. All right, hands even, hips under the bar. Inhale. Oh! All right. Okay. Oh my God. All right. Oh my God. So, you know, you probably, I don't know if you can tell, but before I even started the video, I had been working out a little bit. I've been doing mock sets to to make sure I had the camera right, because I can't see, with this setup, I can't see the actual screen. And so I was already a little warm, heart rate up a little bit. So this is, it's catching up to me now. Now, that was a doozy, because I'm used to doing it on this, right? This is just like maybe half an inch higher, I don't know. But that extra, that extra quarter inches is making a huge difference. And, all right, hold on. I gotta go switch shirts, so this is out of pocket. I just talk amongst yourselves. All right, I'm gonna, whoo! Good Lord. All right. Here we go. Rails. Coming back on the scene. Crispy and clean. Okay. All right. I'm gonna sacrifice this shirt because I don't normally wear this one anyway, except for these videos. But what are we gonna do? We're gonna try 405. You'll notice I'm breathing pretty heavily. So we're not going to do anything risky. All right, so if I take it off, if I unrack it and I don't feel comfortable, boom, just putting it back on. If I go down, I don't feel comfortable, boom, leaving it down there, right? Same thing, if I'm on my way up and it doesn't feel good, I may have to come on back down and just bail. The one drawback, however, so while these rails are good, if you don't have a spotter, and you go heavier than what your body says you can do, and you have to come back down and bail or even whatever, if you have to unload it onto the safety rails, your workout's probably over. Because then you gotta get all of that stuff that's on the rail back up to there, and that's a pain. That's 8 separate, trips that you gotta make to take those off, put the bar back up, and then 8 more trips of putting the weights back on, or whatever, not even 8, whatever, getting it to whatever weight you wanna work it at. So yeah, it's a lot better, in my opinion, if you don't have a spotter to just, if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Yeah, and we're gonna, so don't forget, Fridays, we have Q&A with you and Ray. Last week we were talking about core. This week, I'm gonna talk about the differences in leg exercises. I may have gone over this before, but we're gonna talk about the difference between squats and deadlifts. Like, I get that question a bunch. I thought I was gonna get the deadlifts today. I am not. But we wanna talk about the difference between squats, deadlifts, leg press, sled push, step ups. Yeah, we wanna do that. Squats, deadlifts, leg press, sled push, step up, lunges. All right, so we've got 405 up there. My legs are really, really warm. My body in general is really, really warm. My heart rate is up there a little bit. My lungs aren't burning, but I'm tingling. I can feel the workout. I can feel it beginning to build. So this 405, the previous weight, 365, is pretty much the highest weight that I know on any given day I should be able to lift once. 315 would be the highest weight that I know that I could conceivably do for reps. Now some days are anomalies. Some days I may come in here, I go to do 135. My body is like, nope. Slide push. But yeah, now questioning this here, but I want to mention that the workout that I'm doing, this is more about strength than it's about caloric burn. So this isn't going to be a very high calorie burning workout because I'm not doing nearly enough reps and pounds and volume. Because if I did, I wouldn't be able to do higher 1 rep attempts. But all right, because we're getting to the, I don't want to say the danger zone, but because we're getting to the upper limits of what I'm comfortable with today, we want to have some tunes. I would have music playing here, but the music that I generally listen to when I need to get hyped, not stuff that I think is gonna fly very well. A family-friendly audience. But I mentioned earlier, Q&A with you and Ray. Feel free, like I've gotten some questions. Feel free, send me the questions. I don't have to do a whole thing on the, what I mentioned, the differences between squats and deadlifts. I can do part on one thing, part on something else. Send me your questions. I may even do an additional video. But yeah. I need to check and see. All right, and that's as high as I'm going today. Oh, that extra whatever, 1/4 inch that I gotta go down. It's making its difference, and I don't want to let my ego, risk an injury or even an embarrassing clip. But usually I'm pretty good. I don't have nearly as many bails as I used to because I'm not working out as much, but because also I'm more experienced and have a better sense of, okay, it's time to wrap it up. So like I knew on 365 that was a challenge, right? So I was gonna have to take care with that 405 to let myself recover, have to change shirts, have to get some music on, and really get right for that. So initially I said that I was going to come back down and do some other reps. That's not happening. It's like 10:30, and I want to go home. But this served its purpose, both for me and my experience, and hopefully for you as a student, you know, as a member. You know, this is what this looks like. All right. I know maybe you think that, hey, either A, us trainers just show up strong, you know, or every time we go to the gym, it's just there are folks like that. It's not me, maybe 20 years ago, but this is, I mean, granted, I'm obviously spending a bit of time talking, but it doesn't make that weight any lighter. You know, I can feel it. I can feel my body saying, hey, I really wanna go home and watch Ozark. And I say, I'm with you, body. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully get something out of this. And as I said before, I look forward to seeing you here sooner than later. We have the virtual training going. We've had some people take us up on that offer. We want you to do that. We want you. Virtual training is not a lesser form of training. It's simply, we're further away from each other, and if you have the experience, if you have the skill that we've tried to give you, then it's, you know, it should be a smooth transition. But it's not a lesser form of training. It's just us as trainers have to get more creative. If, you know, because we don't know necessarily what equipment you do or don't have. So then it becomes a matter of, you know, how do we make this work? It can still work. You can get jacked at home, but you know, people like the atmosphere. Either way, you know, like I said, want to see you here sooner than later. Reach out to us. We've got virtual one-on-one training, virtual small group training, virtual team training, all of which we can do right through the app. So you don't need a Facebook account, you don't need a Zoom password, this, that, and the other, right through the app, all right? Thank you very much. Ray Reese, Anytime Fitness, Chestnut Hill. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.